where those things are. And so you have to, in your own marriage, look at those areas where you drop the ball, where you used to do but you don't do anymore. You stop paying attention to your spouse. Stop paying attention to the smile. How do they come home? They don't. They used to fix herself up. They used to come like whatever that is. You have to pay attention to that because the marriage will become a taskmaster. Welcome to another episode of His Wife, Her Husband.
I am SHEMIKA, his wife.
And I am Patrick, her husband. And our purpose is to help you build
And sustain your marriage.
from a biblical perspective. We are in another video. Don't make my camera fall. I'm trying to clear the table.
Ooh.
If y'all only knew.
Get over
So we
here.
are we're in another topic. We're going to talk about, is your marriage a job? Like, how do you feel about your marriage? Is your marriage, because my wife said it in the prayer, is the marriage a task to you? If so, why? Why do marriages feel like task? Why does the marriage feel like the taskmaster? And how do we break out of that, being under such a tyrant taskmaster as marriage, if it's that way, So that's what, again, we're always about solutions to issues in the marriage, and so that's what it is. If your marriage is, hey, how do you get out of that? How do you get from under that
Heave, huff.
yeah?
Into that promise.
What
Land.
becomes just, I'm trying to be deep. What is the Moses of that particular bondage? You know what I'm saying? In other words, you had Egyptians and the Hebrews, and Moses was sent to free them. What will free you from being under that taskmaster other than divorce? Because now people are like, get divorced. Like, other than divorce, how do we navigate marriage being a task? I guess the question becomes, how do you get to that point?
Wait a minute. Navigated from
From marriage being a task.
to being like you experiencing the promises
Correct.
or the benefits of it.
Right. And how does a marriage get to being a task rather than something that you enjoy? I think all of us in the beginning enjoyed, you know what I'm saying? Like
Yeah.
that honeymoon stage. Everybody loves the honeymoon
Yeah.
stage. I think that's another thing for me. I would rather, like, it all depends. I don't know if this will. Spending your money on the wedding is good. I get you.
Yeah.
But investing that money into your marriage, I just believe is better.
Wiser.
Yeah, I just do. Anyway, taskmaster marriage. Let's go.
I think that is pretty neat considering that we just celebrated
Everywhere.
26 years
Mhm.
of marriage. And I have to be honest, it's not heave huff. It doesn't feel like a duty. It's more of a journey.
Mm-hmm.
And so I'm grateful for that. I think, at one point it was, it's
And what made it that way? Like what?
yeah, I'm getting ready to get there.
Okay, my fault.
Uh-huh.
I'm gonna be
it's all
quiet.
good. No, you can talk. It's a podcast.
I know, but I'm gonna wait.
Come on.
Well, sometimes you'll keep going.
Come on. Come on, Cletus. Come on. Jump in.
All right, we'll say that to answer the question.
What?
You said at one point our marriage was a
Heave,
task.
huff, yeah. And I think one.
How do we get there?
How do we get to the task part, and then
How do we get what happened from your side that made marriage a task, like a duty, like, I gotta go to work in the morning. You know what I'm saying?
You? You did. No, but for real.
No, that's fine. That's right with that.
It was just like, it was just a personality clash. and like you were doing things that
What,
was not
what's the doing the
interesting.
things?
You were drinking. You were mean, non-responsive. You weren't.
What you mean non-responsive?
Um, you didn't give me
I know what non.
affection,
Okay, gotcha.
attention that I felt that should have been given. You
Mm-hmm.
know, and I don't think that it was given to someone else. I just think that the cares of life and your own preferences blocked you from tending well to me during that time. So it was kind of like, and I gotta get up and clean up, and I gotta do this, and I gotta do that, and it's kind of like he getting away with everything. He get. So I would just wake up just to say, "See, I did it," but it wasn't
Mm-hmm.
out of, it wasn't, you know, in love. It was in, like you said, in duty.
So to answer one of the things you said, I wasn't physically cheating, but my attention was being given to someone else, like whatever woman I wanted to talk to that day. You know what I'm saying, or
Mm.
that week or whatever. So I avert. Is that I said?
Overt or divert, on one of them.
I showed my attention to other women,
Mm.
strangers, trying to see could I,
Still pull
is
if,
I still had it. You feel what I'm saying?
yeah.
So by doing that, I did take attention away from you or seeing your beauty, because I was caught up in trying not to let, which I think is the other topic we're supposed to talk about, trying not to let single Pat go
Yeah.
while being married. You feel
Yeah,
what I'm
and
saying?
that's a doozy. And that will step in a way, especially if again the two are not walking together,
Hmm.
because that's the whole idea of marriage. It's like we're journeying together, but at the moment one is not present, not just physically, but if they're not present I mean
Mentally.
emotionally,
Hmm.
mentally, or even spiritually, it's going to cause friction,
Hmm.
which then makes it heave huff.
Right.
Like it's gonna automatically make it. It's like because you don't have any passion, you don't have any excitement, no enthusiasm to even show up.
You know me, I'm always asking the why question or the how.
Pause. I'm even thinking about like if you think about going to work,
Hmm.
if a place of employment. I can't remember exactly where I read this or where I heard it, but I do remember hearing that people stay at jobs and churches based on the relationships that they build.
Hmm.
It's not necessarily the actual loyalty to the church or loyalty to the corporation, but it's like the relationships that they build on a day to day basis
Hmm.
that they want to stick around, and they'll put up with um, some of the things that they may not prefer or care for. And so I believe that when it comes to even in marriage relationships, that's I guess that is the promised land. It's like I finally can relate to someone
Hmm.
that when I'm afraid, when I am excited, when I'm unsure, when I'm insecure, like when I'm uncertain, I can actually communicate with you.
Hmm.
And anyway, I may be jumping the gun, but I think that that is the promise of a thriving marriage where I can say, "Hey, I got a need," and then we try to figure it out, or whatever the case
Yeah.
may be.
So I mean I agree. In the beginning stages, we were like it was fun. It was whatever. I think for me, what made me sort of check out a little bit was when you told me, was it the next weekend we got married, and then the next weekend I was going to hang out with my partners, and she told me you can't go. What you mean I can't go? Like I'm a grown blank man. I was cussing in. I'm a grown blank man. How you gonna tell me what I can't? What you can't? Like I always leave at 11 o'clock. You know what I'm saying? 11 p.m. Then you told me, yeah, but you can't go. I'm like, I just went out last weekend, like, or the weekend before that. What are you talking about? Yeah, but now we're married. Well, like, hold up now. It's like, okay, you're trying to change me. So now I'm fighting hard to not let single lip pat go. Cause you told me I couldn't. So now there's pride.
And then the interesting part is I remember that it wasn't even in a harsh way. I'm
It
just
don't
like,
matter.
I just said, "Bet you can't do that." Why not? I'm like, "You married? What that mean?" I'm like,
What does that mean?
"What?"
What
Like,
does that mean?
I'm like,
Cause you married, you can't.
I'm like, "What are you doing? Like, you married? Like, you don't have a reason to go out anymore like that." Like, oh my God, you just went out last weekend. Like,
What
you
a
don't
weekend
give
party at?
all my weekends away.
I wasn't gonna give all your weekend. You gonna get one out of the month. I was with you.
See,
I was with you Sunday through Thursday.
priorities.
Right. So for me, and it wasn't, and I didn't go. So for the record, y'all, I didn't go nowhere.
Yes,
But I
he.
was.
Yes, you
No, I
did.
didn't.
Yes, you
No, I
did.
did not.
Yes, you did.
I went somewhere mentally, but I was there physically. It was new.
You left.
No, I didn't leave.
You did. That was the shock for me. That's when I was like, "Oh no, what have I gotten myself into?"
No, I did not. You know, you don't ever remember anything.
Paper, scissors, rocket. Okay.
We're gonna paper, scissors, rock the past. All right. So disconnect.
Mhm.
So I can't really. I want to. So here's the thing. I want to say something she did that made marriage task, but there was really nothing I can say. Probably you being so she's for 10 years she was the only child. Then she became the oldest child. So she's bossy.
Maybe. You talking about now or then?
Then now. So now later.
I have a
So
tendency. Okay.
taskmaster. So I think
Leadership skill.
leadership skill. So I think part of what makes marriage task mastery is maybe that's it. Trying to control your spouse. So it's trying to control your spouse on how they need to do
Is it
certain things. Now,
control?
I think there's a certain respect that comes with.
Yeah.
So let's go with one of the things that you had a problem with in the beginning, and it was where are you? You know what I'm saying? Because in the beginning, when I was like, well, baby, you just can't leave. Like, where are you? Like, where
That's
you
true.
going? Like, what's going on? And for you, it was. I think there was a little bit of controlling or taking away your freedom, and you bucked for a minute. Not too long, but you bucked for a minute until I finally explained to you. But I think you were trying to. You can tell your own side, but from the way it happened, it appeared as if though you thought I was trying to control you or trying to what's the word? Use another word. It's not control.
It's not
It's
control.
like be what is it when you can't when your spouse can't leave your sight?
Overprotective.
It's
I
not
guess
overprotecting.
that's not it either.
But how but let's go with that. Is that true? Did you feel that way or
So
what?
yeah, I remember that I felt suffocated. Um, like it was like, I guess the best word is like being little girl still. It's
Mm-hmm.
like, and I'm grown. Like, I'll be back. So I guess I still had a little singleness in my mind too.
Mm-hmm.
I never thought of it like that, but I guess there would be. But yeah, and a lot of times when you get to a place when you haven't had to share or communicate with your spouse, it can just feel like I don't know, it just feel weird.
Yeah.
It feel
Domineering, so to speak.
domineering.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it just feel like ugh, especially when you didn't have to do that as a child, nor did you see it.
Mm-hmm.
You didn't see it fleshed out.
Mm-hmm.
Like I didn't have to do that. So why am I reporting to you
Yeah.
my
Reporting to
whereabouts?
duty.
Yeah, like why am I reporting to you? Like if I didn't call you, then all is well,
So
right?
I can't go nowhere, and you
Mhm.
don't want to let me know where you are.
Yeah,
Right.
just
And
madness.
so for the record, there is no what they got now in the phones.
Tracking.
No, um, find my phone.
Location. That's tracking.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. There's
Mhm.
no. It's not tracking.
They,
There's
what is it then,
there's no
other than?
location in our phone, so we don't have that.
Excuse you,
So
beepers.
for me for me to
Just
so people know what was going on. For me, it was what if something happens? There was almost my thought process. So if something and I think she got it after I explained it to her. If something happens to her, and let's say she go, and now listen, I'm not talking about, baby, I'm leaving, baby, I'm on Third, baby, I'm on Chevy Drive, baby. Like it's not that. It's just if you at Tasha's house, and you decide to leave Tasha's house, and like, well, what's up? Well, I'm on my way home. Okay, cool. And then you say, well, I'm gonna stop off somewhere else, and then I'm gonna go somewhere else, then I'm gonna go somewhere else. Okay, and something happens to you when the police call and be like, hey, where's my wife? I said, well, she was coming down Chevy Drive to Westwood because she was at her friend's house, Tasha. I don't know where she is. So it becomes harder to find should something happen. Now, people say, well, that's kind of morbid to think, but this is Memphis, Tennessee. So for me, it was kind of like we need to make sure
And we
that we
communicate.
communicate what's going on for the purpose of safety. You know what I'm
Yeah,
saying?
yeah.
And so for me, that was that. So yeah, that was my point. So I don't know. How do you guys feel about that? Do you think, do you think that's too much? Do you think that's, commendable? That's responsible, or is that controlling? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I don't think it's controlling. I do believe, like, again, once you communicated to me the reasoning behind it, it
Mhm.
made perfect sense.
Mhm.
It's like, oh, yeah, like, if someone needed to know, like if something happened in a particular area, then you could say, "Oh, my baby was last in that area."
Mhm.
Like that's, I think, looking back now, that's totally understandable. I think it's the shedding away again of the singleness,
Yeah.
and
And
that excuse me, that can be challenging. When you first get married,
mhm.
especially again if you didn't see it and you hadn't practiced it
So you
before you.
haven't seen marriage successful. You
Hmm.
hadn't practiced. So you definitely can't practice because you've never been married.
No, even during the dating part, like I didn't call and say, "Hey, I'm heading to
Mhm.
heading here. Just wanted to give you a heads up so you won't be worried. I
Mhm.
usually come home at 8, but I'll be there at 9."
Yeah,
Like,
and we're not talking about over the top like, it's 8 o'clock and it take you 15 minutes to come home and you ain't here at eight
yeah,
fifteen. What's up?
yeah, that's
Yeah.
crazy. But yeah, but just when it's gonna be a major delay,
Yeah.
like those are, that I mean, it's I guess the word that's come to my mind is being considerate. Once you explain this,
Consider
like,
it. That's the word I'm looking
oh,
for.
I was like, oh, I get it. He want me, like, be considerate of,
Right. Because it's not like it's
somebody
not, for
worried.
me. It was like, okay, I'm not asking you to ask for permission to go wherever you need to go. It was like, okay, if plans change, just kind of let me know, so
Like
I
I'm
can know.
concerned about you.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And for the record, even in your foolishness, you did let me know where you were and who you were with.
Yeah. Cause
It
I knew,
wasn't like,
cause I'm in spaces where anything could pop off. You know what I mean?
mhm,
Like we were at Studio G and
yeah,
you know
yeah. You don't have to, yeah.
director's row. You know what I'm saying?
Trauma.
It was just crazy. It was crazy out here. But then let's go back to where we are. I think at that time we were living in Hickory Hood. We were going to church in North Memphis, and you were working in Orange Mound. Is that were you working or volunteering in Orange Mound at that time?
Yeah. Mhm.
So you got three spots in Memphis, Tennessee at that time, and still is, that's prone to anything happening.
Yeah. That's
So
true.
I'm like, bro, we just,
Yeah,
you
that's
know what I'm
true.
saying?
That's true.
And it proved
Good
true when we
point.
got robbed.
Mercy.
When we got robbed. We got robbed together as a family. So it's a unit.
That's just
We do
crazy.
things together. You know what I'm saying?
That's
Everything.
crazy. Yeah.
So controlling. You think that's part become task? I think the most thing that really disconnects and makes the marriage more of a task than anything is when um, the two are not agreeing. Like they're not flowing together. But my question is, because I want people to hear it and think back to their own marriage if they're in this place. How do we get there? Like, how do you get? Because sometimes, oh, that's good. It's a good point. I'm using weight as a point. If it's a little here, a little there, a little there, a little here, years later you realize your weight is not where it should be,
Mm.
but it took just a little here. Could the same thing have happened? Could the same thing happen in marriage where we're not together here and it's not really seen. It's just okay. We don't spend time here anymore.
Mm.
Okay.
You basically you get to that point by you end up collecting small disappointments.
Mm-hmm.
You know, small incompatibilities. I think I made up a word, but
Okay.
anyway, you end up it's kind of like you just pocket it instead of saying, you know, when you did that, I didn't like that, or when you said that, I didn't agree with that.
Mm-hmm.
Whatever it is, but you just kind of, as you say, you just start collecting little small tidbits of. I say you start experiencing relational injuries or scars or wounds. Like it could just be a little bump or whatever, but it may seem like it's not accumulating, but it actually is affecting the overall journey in the marriage because now I just show up.
Uh-huh.
I don't I don't I don't I'm not here because I want to be here. I'm here because I have to be
And
here.
that happens because you don't pay attention to the change.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. That's what I said. Yeah,
Right.
like when you did that, or when you said, like let's say something is said, even though the wife may not, or the wife or the husband may not say anything,
Mm-hmm.
but you could probably notice the change in the body posture.
Mm-hmm.
You may notice a change in how they show up
Mm-hmm.
home, and it's different than when they going to work. They may
Yeah.
get more excited going to work
Yeah.
now when they used to be excited to come
Come home.
home,
Mm-hmm.
but now it's delayed.
Mm-hmm.
It's those little things,
Yeah.
like you said, it's those the scripture that come to my mind is those little foxes that start to destroy the vine.
Mm-hmm.
And so they start off cute and innocent. Oh, we just play like that. But then you may
Mm.
catch him or her off on a day and you missed it.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, no, that really hurt. Like I had took so many shots today.
Mm-hmm.
And when you said that, I just plummeted. And you could see the plummet, but you know that we always play like that.
Mm-hmm.
So you don't try to lift that other spouse up out of that low place.
Mm-hmm.
And then before you know it, it's like I am offended. I'm too badly hurt, and I don't want to go with you anymore.
Yeah. We were watching a movie the other night, and the guy was looking at the picture of his wife. They would go to the same place for vacation, and he
Mm.
noticed he didn't recognize the picture's been there the whole time, but her smile, her facial expression went from a smile to just a and every year they were going to the same place, and and over time you see
The
the
decline in
decline in her
her
joy.
expression, yeah.
Yeah. And so I think that may be, again, I don't think marriage starts off as a taskmaster, meaning when I say that means you feel like I got to do this. I have to do this because I'm married. I got to do this because I'm married. Well, man, I'm married, so I got to do this. I don't think it starts that way. I think over time you miss cues from your spouse. Go ahead.
And that's a good point you brought up,
Hmm.
because sometimes mediocrity will make, is that say it right?
I don't know.
But anyway, the humdrum of
The mundane.
the mundane,
Hmm.
thank you, the mundane of day-to-day life will make you be
That's
like,
good.
oh,
So marriage
oh.
can get lost. When I say marriage, I mean doing the things that you and your spouse used to do that was fun gets lost in the mundaneness of life. The picking the children up, the going to work, the meetings,
The
going to the
routine
routine,
thing, the routine things.
churches at Sunday, churches Wednesday, churches Tuesday. Pick the children up. They got vacations. I mean, they got sports. They got practice, and so you miss you miss the spouse, the change in the spouse's posture, the change in the spouse's smile, the time that you would normally spend with the spouse. Now, and I'm not saying that, so because somebody might say, well, don't have children. You know what I'm saying? That'll be one. But no, it's not that.
It's not them, and it's
It's
not the children.
right, because it could be people who are not, they don't
Parents.
have parents. I mean, they
Don't
don't have parents. They don't have children, and they're still missing because change happens. If there's one thing that's inevitable, it's change, and it always occurs in everybody, individually as well as collectively. I guess for me, I would ask this question again: if you're there in that point in your marriage, have you stopped paying attention? Have you stopped? Have you stopped watching the change that's happening and adapting with the change? You feel what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
And I think that again, another thing, people feel like, well, why should I? Because you're married. You
You
know what I'm
said
saying?
that you basically
Like,
signed up
yeah,
for it.
this is something you vowed to death do you part. So what's the change? Like she has, changes that happen as a woman, and the guy has changed because he's getting older. Maybe he didn't accomplish some of the things that he wanted to accomplish, and he's depressed about it, and then he go through his midlife crisis. So there are a lot of things that, which is why communication is so important.
You mentioned something about oh yeah, change is guaranteed,
Hmm.
and if you don't want to change, then you're ready to exit.
That's
It's
yeah,
just the
that's
truth of the
true.
matter. And so, with that being said, we do have to make the necessary adjustments.
Hmm.
And I think the one thing um, that that we w- one of the ways that we fought against the heave huff, especially after we got over the hump of being unequal
Hmm.
in our marriage, Patrick and I started making the responsibilities of life. We started adding flavor to it, like we would date at the gas pump, So,
Or at Target
at Target.
and people watch.
Uh-huh. And listen, we would even if you know how the store sing, the store sings. The store have songs that's playing over the intercom system. We
Hmm.
would do like little concerts with each other. We had fun. You have to figure out ways to add spice in your life,
Hmm.
so it's not just we're grocery shopping,
Hmm.
right?
Hmm.
And even Patrick would do and he still does. He'll do these little practical joke things, not bad, but he'll see a person, and he'll just, like, if he doesn't have a cart, he will put his things in their bags. Oh, excuse me. Just crazy things just to add laughter and just to
Which is
break.
dangerous, by the way,
It
putting your
is.
grocery in somebody else's basket and
Yes.
asking them, could they carry your groceries? I've,
Yeah.
yeah,
So, but the thing is, we're not saying
yeah,
do
yeah,
these things,
definitely not
but what
saying
I'm
that.
saying is, we understand that the day to day life can get so mundane and humdrum, and that you have to find creative ways to add laughter and spice and
Hmm.
excitement to it. So it's not just I'm getting
Hmm.
gas. Sometimes I can remember one time it was a Elder Barge, is that his name? A song came on, and I twisted the song and personalized it toward Patrick, and our children remember us doing that, and they were saying, "Oh gosh," it's those memories. You have to add them. You have to do it. Go on vacation. You have to do it. You have to take, set time aside. You can do a staycation. You can make the areas around your house different and new. But when your spouse has checked out.
Hmm.
And so now you have to be creative. Again, I said this in another episode, but you want to make sure that you take time to study your spouse now, see what their likes and what their hobbies and what they enjoy. And you want to engage in their world without disturbing it.
Hmm.
You want to engage without disturbing, right? And so now they want you around when they're looking at the PGA tournament, or they're looking at Wimbledon. I'm trying to name sports that's not. the typical sports. But yeah, you want to have them around. And by the same token, even for your the husband for the wife, you may want to, look at whatever some rom com. I don't know.
Hmm.
You figure it out.
So I was looking for the text, and this is the free Bible version. So it says it different, so I can't find it. But
Hmm.
there's a part where Paul, he's really encouraging, be- because it's about spreading the gospel. Paul really is saying, if you're single, you have a better opportunity to really go and spread the gospel because you don't have a spouse or anything. But then he says, if you are married, then you have to be concerned with the things on how to please your spouse.
Yeah.
So you got to be concerned with God, how to please God, and how to please your spouse.
Excuse me.
Hmm.
And I love how Paul said it because basically you don't have margin to neglect either one.
Good.
And a lot of times we try to neglect the spouse at the cost of the Lord and ignore the Lord at the cost of a spouse. This wife you gave me, this husband you gave me.
Hmm.
And then, yeah, it just don't work like
This is
that.
my son, y'all. Look at him.
Hey, handsome.
No, we're not live. We're
Yeah, no,
recording.
no, we recording.
Uh-uh. That's good. Did you finish already, or you finna start? Okay.
Put it to the mic so we can hear.
You can't hear it.
Yeah.
Yes, we can. All right, there you go. I didn't know that. All right. I was putting the phone to the mic to see if it can be heard.
Yes,
No.
please.
Okay. Yes. I guess so. Mom said yes. Amen. All right. Why you say amen? You feel so. You so churchy.
Yes,
I'm
you
so
are. No,
churchy.
no, no.
All right. How did it go? You good? Okay. Okay. All right.
You need us to. Okay, love you too,
All right. Love you
son.
too, son.
Look at you being a dad.
Trying to. I knew that was important. So forgive me, y'all. I'm not gonna take that out either. I'm gonna leave that in the
That's
video.
so
But
good.
I was waiting on an important phone call from my son, so I had to take that. So forgive me. All right. So
No,
where was
no,
I?
no need to forgive.
Where was I? Where were we?
Being a dad. I don't know.
I
That was
forgot.
really good. That was good.
Oh, Paul. You Paul.
Oh, it was it Paul.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I thought you were saying something about Paul not neglecting. They were both
Oh, oh,
important.
oh, yes.
Hmm.
And listen, was that not a real live impromptu? See, we're doing what God called us to do, but
Hmm.
we couldn't neglect that call.
Yeah.
It's figuring it out.
Hmm.
It's and if you know us, then you know we have children. So guess what? We taking the call. Like what we
This
doing?
definitely that one.
I
That
mean,
was an extremely
yeah.
important call.
And my point is that you don't neglect at the neglect of another.
Hmm.
No, it's this and that.
Right.
It's and or hand in hand,
Right.
hand in hand. You take them together, and I think that's the art of truly living. Right? It's like yes, I have to we have to take the children to school.
Hmm.
Yes, they have to do homework. Yes, we need
So
rest.
then the
Yes,
key becomes, how do I? This good, y'all. So this is good. How do I still date my
in the
wife,
midst.
in between those things that have to be done in terms of the children? Like,
Yeah,
how do we do that? And we were talking about,
yeah.
y'all know, Scandal had people rooting for the mistress.
Come
That's a
on.
crazy thing. But Olivia Pope had this thing that her and the president would do. Is they would take 1 minute I think it was in the hallway, and it was a place where
Well, it was
they could
episode 6,
it, they
season
could
3.
they could take that 1 minute, and they would just spend that 1 minute
They held each other. Fitz came to her
for,
door.
and then you go on. So in between that
Listen,
particular
no,
time,
no hanky
they
panky no
found,
more.
yeah, there was no hanky panky.
It just was a
They
hoe.
found, I mean, not in that particular time.
Hmm.
They found time to be in each other's presence.
To take time.
So here's the thing. I'm glad you said that. How many of us are taking the time out to put the time in to your marriage? Here we go. One more thing. Each one of us have to look and see, what am I doing?
Or not.
What am I doing that's causing my marriage to fall apart? That marriage is a duty now, rather than an enjoyable hobby, not hobby, an enjoyable thing to do,
Uh
a
huh. Uh
vacation.
huh.
You know what I'm saying?
It's not an enjoyable thing, and
I wasn't done.
oh
So what? Go ahead.
no go
What did you used to do? Like, you really got to think about that. What did I used to do
and have stopped doing.
that I no longer do anymore?
Hmm.
And my spouse, it's not like my spouse said, I don't like that anymore. Like, again, we're talking about communicating. So there was something that she said, okay, well, I don't like roses. And I keep bringing her roses. That's going to make her mad. Then I'm going to be mad that she got mad because I took the time out to get the roses, boom, boom, boom. But if she hasn't stopped saying she like roses, get the roses. Like, continue, like, okay, I stopped doing that. Let me go back to doing that. Okay, I stopped leaving little notes, in the morning for her to see before I go to work. Let me start back doing that. You know what I'm saying? And over time, just like I believe marriage becomes a taskmaster over time. I believe over time you can enter into the promised land of marriage, but it will take time. It takes, you getting back to doing what you used to do, and you know, see where it goes from there.
And uh,
Especially if they're still in the house.
and another thing,
Hmm.
we have to not get to the place of entitlement too, because
Help me understand what you
you
mean.
get the roses, you can go on the vacations, you can get the gifts, and all of that, but it's like
If he doesn't,
it's
or
an attitude that
hmm
comes with when you get it, you think that, yeah, you owe this to me, versus it being that you're grateful that he or she thought about you. It's like, do the small things, but don't demand those things, because now it's becoming duty. It's like, oh, let me stop and get these roses because I don't want to hear her mouth. Like, you just made it duty because of your attitude.
hmm
You know, so I think that that too plays a major part
hmm
in things becoming a more duty driven.
So controlling,
Being controlling,
being in controlling,
being entitled. I really
being
do think.
entitled.
I really do think that, and I could be. And now there's something that I do want you all to chime in on. Especially from a woman, a female perspective. Like, we can have a tendency to be the most and demand the most. Like, you have
You know,
so
I
many.
always disagree with you on stuff
Stop,
when you make
Patrick.
statements
Let
like
me
that.
finish. I
You know.
know. Now, I know it's both, but I'm just saying I can only speak from me because I'm me. I'm a female, a woman. And the truth of the matter is that we, again, can have so many levels of expectations, and, like, just, I'm entitled to this because you should give it to me. Like, yeah, but now, don't make it hard for him. Don't make it easy for him to forget to get you roses because your attitude is
Hmm.
funky. Like, it stink. Now, don't nobody want to be around you. But then he'll never come around with, look at how you sound. Look at how you, like, like, get yourself together.
So what about the guy
And
that's demanding, who feels like the food need to be here and tears need to, like, there's, so I think there's demanding on both sides of the coin. I think that's a personality more than a gender thing. You know what I mean?
I understand, but, like, again, I'm not a man, so I can't say,
Well, you've seen
you
some
know.
relationships. I mean,
Yeah, that men, yeah, they are horrible. Like, I thank God that I'm not assigned to them. That's true. I mean, I have seen it, but I'm just saying, like, again, when you carry that aura
hmm
about yourself,
hmm
and you making it where, dude, I hate you. Like, you get on my
hmm
nerve. Or, girl, man, you extra. Like, you ain't never satisfied.
correct.
And so I believe that
I
that's,
need a little
again.
more.
I think, again, look at you. You kind of, you singing. I'm proud of you. But anyway, I do think that would be. We did all this talking about 40, 30 minutes, to the whole conclusion of the matter is It's your attitude
I don't know that song.
that describes you. No, I forgot the melody too. But what you want or something.
What?
Anyway,
So your
your
attitude determines your
attitude,
altitude,
your attitude,
even in marriage.
it really,
Hmm.
really, really plays a part to the duty. You know how you feeling in doing a thing.
Hmm.
Because just think about, you can be cooking, but you know, oh, I love him. He appreciates, like, oh, baby, you cook for me. I mean,
Hmm.
you know what I mean? Like he wants your cooking, even
So,
though, listen,
oh, oh, oh,
wait a
oh.
minute, baby.
No, 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 no.
Even though it could be nasty, it's a meal he don't even like. But because you smiling and you putting forth an effort, you
Hmm.
trying to lighten his load.
Right.
Watch that man eat that nasty meal
No, he's
because
not
your
gonna eat the
attitude.
nasty
Wait,
meal. He gonna
Patrick.
take you out to eat.
Well, see, that's even see. I mean, my point is, you working on. We will be working on bringing spice and healing to the marriage because he see you put forth an effort. Because guess what? Sometimes we can see that the account is not where we will want it to be, and so you look because you didn't have a little attitude. Well, ain't no money in the account, so we ain't got nothing to eat. But instead, you warm those beans up. Amen. They probably was hard
Amen.
and crunchy.
Amen.
And you didn't have any meal to make a cornbread, but you toasted the ends of the bread.
So here
My point
we
is,
actually done that. So
you a dry morsel.
here's another thing. Here's another thing. So those are very good. So entitlement, and then here's another one, ungrateful. Because you talk about the woman who is cooking all the time and she's doing a great job of cooking. Now, or the guy who does a great job, maybe he's the cook because I do most of the cooking at the house, but we,
Yes, you
we
do.
share
Yes,
because
we
I
do,
don't like cleaning.
and it's okay.
So I would cook and then she would wash the
Hey,
dishes.
hey, hey, yes.
So,
Hey,
but
man.
when that's done without a thank you,
See,
now
they go that
cooking,
entitlement.
well, it's
They
not
go that
entitled. Well,
attitude
yeah,
again.
entitlement, but it's
Yeah.
he or she who's ever doing whatever they're doing, and they don't get a thank you or appreciate you, then it becomes ungrateful, and like I feel like they feel like
Unappreciated.
you're ungrateful, and so ungratefulness. So again, we gotta again. It's so good. Again, we have to look back and realize, where am I being ungrateful? Where am I controlling? Where am I being? Where do I feel entitlement? Where am I ungrateful? You know what I'm saying?
A spoil, a spoiled brat.
Like where those things are. And so you have to, in your own marriage, look at those areas where you drop the ball, where you used to do but you don't do anymore,
But
where
still
you stop
demanding.
where you stop paying attention to your spouse, and stop paying attention to the smile. How do they come home? They don't. She used to fix herself up, and he used to come like whatever that is. You have to pay attention to that because the marriage will become a taskmaster, and you're just buying your time till you, I don't know, whatever your exit thing is. And we're not talking about abuse. We're just talking about it's not there anymore.
And
That glee is not there.
pep in your
That
step,
it's
that
not there
joy.
anymore. But remember now, because this is what I want to encourage people. It wasn't there at one point because you had to get to know each other.
Mm, that's good.
So if it's not there now, what do we do to get it back? You know what I'm saying? What do you do? What's your part in this? As opposed to saying, well, I don't because he or I don't because she. No, no, no. Let me focus on what I can do my best to save it. You know what I'm saying?
And so, with that being said, nothing, I believe that nothing is more beautiful than a pleasant attitude.
Yeah.
I mean, it could be a person that just, it's like, my goodness, but their attitude,
You can be a very beautiful woman, like
a brick house,
whatever. But if you got a
well put
bad
together,
attitude,
don't
ain't
nobody
nobody,
want,
ain't
look,
nobody want to fool with
and
that.
can I be honest? You don't want to fool with you.
Yeah.
And that's the part that we don't be wanting to admit. But you know when you were wrong, and when you know that you're wrong and your attitude suck in the marriage, then you need to have an attitude adjustment with yourself, looking at full length mirror, tell yourself to
Full length mirror.
get yourself together, whether you the guy or the girl. You know, the white needs to go back, the wife or the husband, because yeah, you pay the bills, but she probably got a job and she can pay her own bills too.
Yeah.
So that's not enough. Like and when I say that, I'm not being dismissive of the contribution, but it's like, you're not the best looking thing. Now you need to, be kind, like have a good attitude with that, because you know.
Yeah.
And the same with the woman. You may be the best looking thing, but you got to go to the beauty supply every other day to keep
Mm-hmm.
looking at look, and your attitude still is horrible.
Mm-hmm.
Like fix that,
Mm-hmm.
so that when you can no longer go to the beauty supply,
Mm-hmm.
then you'll give him something to respond to, because
There's
your attitude is
there's a
beautiful.
guy. He ended up leaving. He ended up leaving his wife. His wife was she was a pretty woman, and he got with someone who was not
Yeah.
pretty at all. And we were
We
kind of
call it
talking.
tender on the eye.
We were kind of talking about it behind his back, and I got tired of talking about it behind his back. So I asked him to his face, I said, "Hey man, listen, what's going on?" His answer was, "Man, I got so much peace." I'm like, "Oh, say
Mercy.
no more."
Mercy.
Like as beautiful as you are, the Bible says that. Talk about somebody being cantankerous or
Mm-hmm.
dripping water,
Mm-hmm.
and yeah, you're
Nagging.
the beauty is there, but there's no peace. Yeah, nah, you can keep that. You know what I'm
I
saying?
trade in.
Right.
My fault,
And I'm
boss.
not
Leave
saying
me
divorce your
out.
wife. This is not what
Mm-mm.
this about. Because somebody's like, see what I'm saying? That's why I'm leaving. I'm saying, let's do the best you can to try. Um, do the best you
You
can,
won them
not to
over
try.
one time.
You can do it again. And you had to get to know them in the beginning. This is another beginning. Get to know them again. Amen.
I say that's the conclusion of the matter.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. And so it add a little pep in your step. Again, I think if you are experiencing your marriage feeling like it's a task, have an attitude adjustment, both, either the husband or the wife, and both, and you'll see a difference in it,
Hmm.
and again, add joy to the mundane, to the responsibilities in life. You can't not go to the gas station. You can't avoid going to get groceries and spending time with the children, but you can still flirt with each other, and you can
Hmm.
still do the kind gestures to let them know I see you and that I love you and I'm glad that I chose you.
Yeah. Yep. All right, you guys. I think that's it. You got anything else you want to say?
Be blessed.
All right. Take care.